Hey, what's going on, guys? Josh Thomas from thebitblock.com here to talk with you very casually about what Nintendo might be doing at this year's E3. Yeah, I'm not going to bother scripting any of this. I just have kind of bullet points, and we're going to go over them, and I'm going to share with you my personal hopes and predictions for what Nintendo is going to show this year. But, you know, let's be honest, there's no way to ever predict what Nintendo is going to do. They're totally crazy, and they never do what seems obvious, and they do something completely crazy, so I don't know. Let's just let's just have some fun thinking of what they might do this year. First of all, I think it's pretty obvious we're going to see The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. I believe this is actually confirmed from Nintendo themselves, so it's kind of a bad prediction. But yeah, first of all, I don't think it's going to look the way that it did when we originally saw that little, I guess it was just kind of a concept video. I don't think it will look like that, and I'm pretty happy about that. Because it looked, like, technically nice, but it seemed really lifeless and boring. It was just, like, super realistic Zelda, which is something I've never been a fan of. I think Zelda is supposed to be colorful and cartoony. I grew up with A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, so I kind of like it to be a little bit more stylized and not all gritty and realistic and hardcore. But yeah, having said that, I think Zelda for Wii U will be playable, and I think it will be the main focus of their show, and I don't think it's going to come out this year. I think Zelda for Wii U will be next year. Hey, here's another obvious prediction. I think we're going to get the exact release dates for Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS. I don't think we'll get an exact date for the Wii U game, but I think we'll get maybe like a month. But yeah, the 3DS game, I think we're going to get literally July 27th or something like that. Speaking of that, I think that the release for Japan is going to be very late July, and I think the rest of the world will get it very early in August. So I think there might be like a week or two difference between the release dates, and Japan's will be out a little bit earlier. Nevertheless, I think that's, it's coming out in the summer, so I would assume Nintendo will kind of push that as far back as possible, and I'm assuming it'll be late July or very early August. And then speaking of release dates, I think that it's pretty obvious we'll also get a release date for X, or basically the sequel to Xenoblade, and I believe the release date for that will probably be this holiday season. Also, I'm pretty sure they're going to give it a final name at E3. Just calling it X is a little weird, so I have no idea what the final name could be, but we'll get a release date, we'll get a final name, and I'm guessing it's going to be arriving this holiday season. So the next couple predictions might seem a little bit random, but if they end up being true, I would be very, very excited. I think Mario Baseball for Wii U will actually be shown off at this year's E3. I have a few reasons for believing this. First of all, we know it's not going to be a Camelot sports game, because Camelot just released Mario Golf World Tour. It could maybe be Strikers. Super Mario Strikers could possibly make an appearance, but then again, Next Level Games did just wrap up Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon about a year and a half ago. So I don't know if that's enough time for them to jump into the next project, and I don't know if it would be Mario Strikers. I'm going to place my bets on Mario Baseball. I gotta say, though, that might be a little biased, because I do love me some Mario Baseball. It is my favorite Mario sports game, so I'm kind of hoping that we get to see it. Mario Baseball is great, because there's so much Mario fan service in it, and I think that the Wii U gamepad would make for one damn awesome baseball game. You could use the gamepad for the fielding controls, and use the Wii Remote Plus for the swinging, and if you wanted to, you could just use classic controllers. I think the Wii U would be a great console for a baseball game. Mario Baseball hasn't been out for a while. It did really well on the Wii and the GameCube, so yes, I'm predicting the next Mario Baseball game for Wii U will be shown. And then the other game that's sort of random that I'm predicting, Endless Ocean 3. This game series did pretty well, and the developer hasn't really worked on anything too special for Nintendo. They did Dr. Luigi recently, but I doubt that could take up much time. It's literally just the WiiWare game ported over with Luigi in it. So I'm going to predict that they are busy with Endless Ocean 3 for Wii U, and my goodness, if any of you have played that game on the Wii, it's gorgeous. So imagining what an Endless Ocean game could look like on the Wii U, oh my gosh, it could be amazing. So yeah, that's another one that I think kind of makes sense. It's a game that we might see, but it's also kind of me just hoping that we see it, because it's going to be pretty. And actually, just to throw it out there to kind of cheat, I think we might see Battalion Wars 3 as well. Battalion Wars, I don't know how well that did on the Wii, but I don't know, it's a great series and Nintendo should keep it going, so I want to see Battalion Wars 3 for Wii U. Next up is Yarn Yoshi. I think at E3 we are finally going to get a real name for the game, and I think we'll see a trailer and we'll really get to a better understanding of what this title is about. When we originally saw it, I think it was over a year ago, I think Nintendo had showed it off prematurely, and they just wanted to show that games were coming to Wii U, but I'm assuming all of what we're seeing here was very early in development. So I doubt that it's dead. I think at E3 we're going to get a real name, we're going to get a release date, and I think this game is probably going to be launching sooner than most people think. I would be willing to bet that Yarn Yoshi is going to come out very late summer or very, very early fall. So my prediction would be like a September release date for the whole world, maybe Japan getting it in late July. But yeah, I think Yarn Yoshi is alive and well, and I think we're going to see a lot of it at E3. Now, even though we just got Game & Wario for the Wii U about, what was it, like a year ago? I think that team could be pretty deep in development with a brand new WarioWare or Rhythm Heaven game for the 3DS. And again, this is one of those things that I'm predicting, but also kind of maybe more hoping for. I don't really think there's any logical reason to believe this, but yeah, I think we need a WarioWare or a Rhythm Heaven game for the 3DS. It's been kind of a while since they wrapped up Game & Wario, and I doubt that title took too much development. I mean, that was a pretty simple game. So yeah, I'm gonna say that obviously we need 3DS games, and I think WarioWare or Rhythm Heaven will be there at E3 this year. And then finally, my last two predictions involve an HD or a 3D remake of, I don't know, any of Nintendo's past games, but I'm going to bet an HD remake of Super Mario Sunshine from the team that brought us the Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, or we're going to see a 3D remake of Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Majora's Mask, I want to see that in HD. I don't know, I kind of want to see Majora's Mask on the 3DS so that we have both N64 games on like the same engine and on the same system. I think that would feel more right. And Super Mario Sunshine HD, I don't really think you can do a sequel to Super Mario Sunshine because it was all about those particular islands. So I'd really much rather see a gorgeous HD remake of it. And I think the gamepad could be pretty good for aiming around the flood and stuff. And so yeah, I want to see Super Mario Sunshine HD, and I want to see Majora's Mask 3D. So, I don't know, I feel like one of those is bound to happen at E3 this year. Alright, so there you go. Those are my wacky, sort of confusing predictions for this year's E3. I'm sure that everybody knows this has to be a very big show for Nintendo. Right now, the Wii U ain't doing so good. So obviously we need to see a lot of games. 3DS is doing pretty well, but Nintendo wants to keep up that momentum. So I think one thing is for certain, Nintendo has a lot riding on this year's show, and I think they're going to bring the goods. So I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Let's see what they do.